they'd go barking at the door, and our other dog would go, "What's going on?" And he'd grab the toy. Okay, this is a sign about George Washington being elected right here on this spot. Okay, and you know, when the voters came up, they had to say out loud who they were voting for. So there's a little peer pressure. So knowing this, George Washington wrote a letter to the sheriff, and the sheriff oversaw all this stuff. He wrote a letter in 1761 on his third election, and he said, "Would you mind if you got all my guys in line first?" Frederick County was a pretty big county, so they came from many miles, but the sheriff line, the first 11 voters are all Washington voters. So you want to stay with the winner. But Washington was 26, and they say he was young, but you've all grown up watching World War II movies. Well, you ever notice how they would call some guy Pops? That guy was only in his 20s. Pops was only in his 20s. Well, Washington was Pops because he by the time he ran for this election, he had seen a lot. He saw 900 men dead on Braddock's defeat. Okay, he was surrounded at Fort Necessity, a little kind of a joke of a name for a fort, but you know, he's surrounded, and in the rain, his men are getting drunk, you know, because they've lost. But he's seen a lot. He's seen a lot of devastation. Almost got killed by an Indian, you know, on one of his travels. He saw a lot. So he was really Pops by the age of 26. And who told me that was our former historian on the French and Indian War Foundation, Norman Baker. He was awesome. He was a Marine, and he was on Okinawa, and that's why he said, you know, they keep saying he was young. He wasn't young. So, but we hold July 26th at happy hour, 5 to 7. There's beer. And we have, and everybody announces who they vote for, and we hold the election. We have our Mercer Company of the Virginia Regiment march around, shoot our guns, scare off the drinkers, you know. So come by and do the vote. Now, you have to vote for 2 out of 4. Now Washington's running with who? Thomas Bryan Martin, the guy they named Martinsburg after in the middle of the war. He remains a passive loyalist. And you know, they wanted Lord Fairfax and him to put their allegiance to the cause of independence, but they really couldn't, because if they did, all their land for the rest of their family would be confiscated in England. So there really wasn't much of a civil war in the Valley. The Civil War of the War of Independence really happened in Norfolk or New York City or New Jersey or South Carolina. There were civil wars in those colonies with the loyalist colony guys against the patriot rebel guys. So, but this area here did not experience as much of that civil war, brother against brother. But Thomas Bryan Martin was the second guy with Washington running for that election, and they got elected together to represent Frederick County. And Thomas Bryan Martin is the nephew. He was really suited to do this job for Lord Fairfax, so it kind of edged out Lord Fairfax's other relatives with the Fairfax, you know, title. Thomas Bryan Martin talked about boredom. He was so bored, he contemplated suicide, but but soon he got married and found a girl. Any locals here? So you can come by to vote for George. All right. Are there any questions?
When he wins this, Here, right, he's on the board, like,
Correct. Good point. He has James Wood, the founder of this city, sit in for him. So there's a famous picture holding up James Wood in a chair. All the people, they hold him up. And this picture is big because it was in Washington Irving's biography of George Washington. It was in Putnam's magazine, Illustrated magazine. And the picture got played everywhere. And Washington Irving met George Washington when he was little. But Washington Irving is the guy who wrote Sleepy Hollow and those famous, but he was in a way more famous for George Washington's biography. It was very popular. But yeah.
Hey, Jim, I've got to head back and
Okay.
take care of some things for tonight's
Okay.
programs and stuff. But I just want to make an announcement and
Yeah.
you can continue. So,
Yeah.
this is the last stop here, and then you can head back to your car or to the hotel if you just walked from the hotel. The other thing is for tonight's program with David Preston's public talk is here in the courthouse. So, just so.
And then I just really only have one more thing,
7 p.m.,
final thing to say.
Yes, 7 p.m. Go ahead.
When you guys leave to go back to your car, there's that archway saying Winchester established 1752. Well, in September of that year, the citizens of this town lost 11 days. And
Change the
basi-
calendar?
Yeah, it was changing calendar. 1751 changed the actual beginning of the year to January 1st. So 1751 goes from March to December. So 1751 is a short year. Then 1752, they got to make up 11 days because their Johnny-come-latelys, the British Empire. Pretty much the continent has changed back in 1582 to the new Gregorian calendar from Pope Gregory. So he had got the calendar aligned up with things like Easter and all that, you know. Easter's a crazy holiday to figure out. So that was getting way off. And in 1582, they were 10 days off. So by the time 1752 comes around, they were 11 days off. And then some of the last people to adopt this Gregorian calendar was Lenin in 1918, and Saudi Arabia adopted in 2016. So, but on that day, so when you see that 1752 above your head as you leave to go, that's just let that remind you they lost 11 days. They wake up on a Wednesday, and I guess it was a Saturday or something, you know. Especially for the guys who drank a lot, that was really good. All right.
Progressively off.
Right, and they took care of that during that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.